Now you have everything electronically available. Our patent office is electronically connected. Very well, even if you have Section 8 even now, why should you penalize a patentee if there is some omission, when some application has been missed out? So what is the purpose and objective of this section now also perhaps needs to be reviewed, though we have had a judgment recently in the case of Philip, where the court has, thankfully, taken a view that, look, mere non-disclosure will not lead to cancellation under Section 64. The non-disclosure must be a material non-disclosure which must be deliberate. So we have diluted the monstrous proportion which Section 8 had acquired thanks to certain intellectual property appellate board decisions. So that is on Section 8. Then next is a compulsory license. We have these compulsory license provision, very well have the compulsory license provision. The question is, what is public interest? What is a reasonably affordable price? What is working of the patent? There is no definition at all. It is totally left for the controller to decide. How do you determine what is a reasonable price? I have no idea at all. And how do you compare a generic price with an innovator's price, a generic who is not invested in the research and development, not invested in the clinical trials, not invested in the marketing, and yet what is only available to the public at large to see is you have a high-priced drug and you have a low-priced drug. So what is the significance of compulsory license, which needs to be addressed? We have two cases, one NATCO, where the compulsory license was granted on the ground that there was a very high price and the drugs were not publicly available. I believe this case turned on the evidence, lack of evidence rather. I don't think that Bayer was able to produce evidence justifying the pricing and the availability. Perhaps had they done it, the judgment could have gone the other way around. And of course, you have the second judgment where the compulsory license was refused for the reason that the voluntary license avenue was not explored sufficiently as required under the law. Lastly, we have had this recent judgment of Supreme Court where the court said that you can either go for a revocation by way of a post-grant opposition, or by way of a revocation before Intellectual Property Appellate Board, or by way of a counterclaim in an infringement action. Now that's very fine, that's very good. But what the Supreme Court has not answered is that what happens in interim proceedings and infringement proceedings at an interim stage. If a defendant has filed a revocation before Intellectual Property Appellate Board and has now to defend a suit of infringement, can it raise the plea of invalidity for the purposes of refusal or grant of interim injunction? There is no answer to this. This needs to be answered by the court in one of the judgments. And lastly, coming to the working of the patent issue, we have had now Bombay High Court affirming that local manufacture is not essential but recommended, and you can rely upon the commercial working of the patent by way of import, provided you make out a case as to why you are justified in not locally manufacturing it. So, well, these were some of the issues. Thank you very much.